Are we late? Are we late or not? Are we? No.
Nah.
I thought we was rambling on. Good evening. Welcome along to SAFC Fan TV and another edition of Thursday Night Live. Joining me tonight, we have Terry. The Mad Mistake is there. Have you had a good day, Terry?
Yeah, it's been all right. It's a Thursday. I got an early finish, so I'm ready for the weekend now, Phil.
Have you been for a run?
I went for a run, yes. Usual 4-mile run, wandering around Durham.
Did you bump into anybody?
Well, I didn't see a character walking around, but it looked a bit like Lee Johnson. I don't know if it was Lee Johnson, but it looked a bit like Lee Johnson.
Right, okay. Stalker alert stuff. We got Jack Shields with us as well. Jack, you had a good day?
Yeah, it's been all right. Just popped down the gym for a bit, come back, looking forward to a bit crack about Sunderland, as always.
Fantastic, superb. You'll see there's only 3 of us at the moment, and that is because we are going to be joined by Tom from Fournilwrittenalloverit, superb YouTube channel. He'll be coming on in about 15 minutes from now. We're going to have a chat about Sunderland first, and then we'll go into the Portsmouth game on Saturday, and we'll discuss all sorts of stuff concerning that game. We are live, which means you can join us via the live chat if you want to take part in the show tonight. Already on there. Las Palmas Macam, who was always first and up there. Hello to you. David Walker there, Ian Donaldson, Robert Foster, Mick Griffiths is there as well. Alan Robinson, McKaylee Allen, who is the Trinidad Macam, CONRAD Tank, Nathan, Tony Lee, friend of the show, all in there as well. Fellas, I'll tell you what we'll start with. New signing. Come in from Stoke, 31-year-old centre-back. I'm reliably informed by Terry that it is pronounced Danny Bart and not Danny Batth. Is that right?
That's correct.
And your thoughts on him then, Terry? Free transfer from Stoke.
Well, to be honest, I was a bit disappointed. I never really heard of him that much. And then I had to delve into his history, and I realised he'd spent 10 years at Wolverhampton Wanderers, come from League One to the Championship to the Premier League. He captained them quite a bit, got bags of experience, went to Stoke, done really well for Stoke. Stoke fans love him. You know, he's a leader on the pitch. He's going to hopefully sort this defence out, because that's what we need. Someone over 6'3" tall, built like a big brick shithouse. No nonsense defending. That's all we need. So I'm absolutely over the moon now. We've gotten him at Sunderland, and like I said, now I found out a little bit about him, seen him a bit in action. I thought, yes, that's right for me. Apparently, he's been offered more money elsewhere, but he wanted to come to Sunderland. So that just says great things. I think it's probably one of the best free transfers we could possibly get.
Yeah, fair enough. I understand what you're saying, because to be fair, I hadn't really heard a lot about him. And then when we've done a bit of research on him, it seems like he's actually not a bad player at all. Just very quickly back to the chat. Emma Hansen says, only 3 tonight, lads. We are getting Tom on, as we've explained already. Conrad Tank says 1 minute late. Karen says you're late. Apologies for being late. Jeff Allcroft on there. Spannerman is with us. Jack Shields, Danny Bart. What do you think?
You don't have to full name us tonight, Phil. I'm the only Jack on. You're all right.
Jack, Danny Bart. What do you think then?
No, I'm very pleased with it. I think I've spoken a few times about the need for a solid, tall, physical centre-half, and he ticks all of the boxes, as Terry says. I had heard of him. I knew of him. I knew he played for Wolves. I knew he was at Stoke. I'm not someone you're going to follow the career closely, really, are you? But you're looking, I think he's played over 300, 400 games in the Football League. He looks like a big lad, 6'3", as Terry so eloquently put it. He's built like a brick shithouse. And I think I've seen 1 or 2 Stoke fans online, and they say he's just an out-and-out defender. He just loves to defend. He'll put his head where some players wouldn't put the boot. He looks like he would battle and fight with a striker if a striker wants to be physical with him. He looks like he can. He's going to have the experience and be a little bit of a leader at the back as well. I think he's captained Wolves, and I'm not sure he may have captained Stoke as well. So he might have that experience and that leadership that I think we need at the back. I think you only need to look as far back as Wickham the other week conceded 2 goals from set plays, really, and they were really avoidable goals both times. And I think we're missing a really powerful, dominant centre-half. He ticks all the boxes. It's a free transfer. I can't see a negative. I can't see a negative. The only one slight thing is people said he's not great with his feet. So if we're playing out from the back, he might not be brilliant. But I think if you play 3 centre-backs, you can probably get away with one of them not being great on the ball. I think I'm really, really happy. I think it's a really good deal.
Right, fair enough. Just very quickly, I'll bring in a secretary. Back to the chat. Unfortunately, because he's not pronounced Danny Batth, it does knack your jokes up there, Christopher Lee. Can Batth plug the hole at the back? Terry, you was one then.
Yeah, I've been talking to a few Wolverhampton Wanderer fans as well, and they really liked them at the club. They didn't want to leave, to be honest, but it was because of the Portuguese Revolution that came in when they got the Premier League, or whatever it was that they sort of kicked them out. So for me, I think it's a massive plus, definitely a massive plus. Especially when we leaked so far 33 goals, and Shrewsbury have only leaked 29. That says something to me. Like teams well below us are keeping better goal difference. Well, it's not better goal difference, but keeping like sort of letting less goals in the back of the net.
What it says to me, it says we must be banging some goals in, though, Terry.
We are banging the goals in, but we've got to keep those clean sheets, Phil. You know, if we I mean, how many games have we not scored this season? There can't be that many. Well, keep a clean sheet. We take 3 points.
Michael Bowers is your man, and if he always harps on about how important clean sheets are. But yeah, keep a clean sheet. You're not going to lose, are you? And I mean, he's still pretty much on form by the sounds of it, because I believe he was their player of the month for November with Stoke, you know, so he's still seems like he's still on form there. What is interesting, though, I know, Terry, you harped on it a few weeks ago about, I mean, he's 31, and it just seems our new formula, or what it was, we seem to go for youngsters now and bringing young ones in. And I'm sure you said you'd be surprised if you saw anybody come in sort of over the age of, like, you know, the likes of Winchester. Well,
and stuff like that. We have got Evans in who's 31, haven't we? We have got Evans who's 31. So I think they might have looked at the situation and thought, yeah, you know, we've gone through another bad patch at this moment in time. We can clearly see, I mean, a blind man can see we're letting too many goals in. That's where we need to plug the hole. We need to do something desperately. There's something not right in our defence. I mean, everybody can see it. So they've tried to do something, and that means bring somebody in with the experience to play alongside a young kid like Doyle, to improve Doyle, and other like Serkin, and you've got Diago in there. So these youngsters can learn from the experience, and they can be the leader that we're missing, because we are missing a leader. As much as Bailey Wright's being captain, done a good job, Evans has been captain, we are missing a natural leader, and he could be the leader that we're missing.
I'm absolutely sure. I don't know why. I've just had to Google it. I didn't realise Corey Evans was 31. But yeah, it's just I didn't know if it fit our new system. But I mean, they know, I have confidence in what they're doing. I know there's been comments about complaints that we're just getting free transfers and loanees and stuff like that. But if it works, so what? You know what I mean? It's
it is good to have a system, but when you can clearly see something's not right, it's nice that they're going to be able to, change it a little bit, so they're not going to be too stubborn.
I think that's important. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I think it's okay to have a recruitment model, but when a good deal becomes available, I think you've got to be flexible enough to recognise that, the model is under 25 or under 26 and develop them on. But when a good deal becomes available, like the Danny Batth deal, I think you've got to go and get it. I think as well as that, there's a certain over 30 striker that's become available that the Sunderland fans love very much, that they would like to break the rule for, you know what I mean? A certain Jermain Defoe. So I think when deals like that become available, I think you've got to bite the bullet and get them.
Right, fair enough. Just very quickly back to the chat there. Mick Griffiths says, I'm looking forward to see Bart play steady at the back. Tony Lee says Bart is just what we need. Big, tough, experienced centre-back. You know, he does seem to tick all the boxes, to be honest. Right, well, let's quickly move on to Oliver Younger. Has gone out of the door to Doncaster. Again, we'll start with you, Terry, because you championed Younger quite a bit. And to be fair, when we have seen him play, he hasn't done that badly, really, has he?
No, I mean, he only came, was it from Burnley in 2020, straight into the 23 academy. So, to be fair, I was a little bit disappointed, but I could kind of see someone going out. I mean, you got Younger and Jamajli, so I mean, we don't see them in training. We don't know how fit they are. We don't know how they're progressing. So they must obviously think that they rate Jamajli more than Younger, and he's going to be the one that could actually get into the first team at some point ahead of Younger. So you're going to have, we might have plans to maybe bring another centre-back in as well. So someone's got to make way, I suppose. And I'm disappointed because I thought he was good, but obviously that's the only way the lad's going to progress, isn't it? I mean, it's all about the Younger's future himself. If he's going to get a better deal and he's going to have first-team football at Doncaster, at the end of the day, he makes the decisions on his own career, and I wish him all the best.
Fair enough. David Walker says Younger didn't get a good enough chance here, sadly. There's been others ahead of him, though, hasn't there? And we don't know what goes on in training. So, also, Colin Major says, let's hope he's another Kevin Ball, Terry. That's obviously, we're on about Danny Bart there. And also, where we at, Eddie Bamber says, get well soon, Lee Burge. Terry, what's the script with Lee Burge?
Right, when he got COVID, he's had a heart problem. I don't exactly know what's wrong with his heart, but he's had a heart problem. Because, like I say, there's a few players over the last year or so have had heart problems in football, especially with COVID going around. So he's picked up some sort of illness with his heart when he contracted COVID. So, like I say, I wish him all the best. I mean, at least they've caught it early. He hasn't been on the pitch playing football in the full 90 minutes when something's happened to him. So, at least they've got it early. Hope they can sort it out.
Right, Jack, Oliver Younger, thoughts on it?
I think it's a good move. I think often he's going to learn more from playing, first team football if Doncaster play him, and hopefully they do. I think he's going to learn more from playing first team football than he would ever in the 23s. I think the physicality of the league for a defender is a great learning curve, and I think the intensity of the games. I don't know about what Terry or you think, Phil, and the people watching, but when I've watched the under-23 games, there never ever seems to be that intensity that you get in League One, that 100%, 100-mile-an-hour game. And I think Ollie Younger will learn from that. But really, I think long-term for Sunderland, I think when he comes back, he needs to really, when he does come back, is it to the end of the season or is it 3 months? Or
I think we sold him, haven't we? We've got rid of him.
He sold him.
Oh,
yeah.
He's gone.
My apologies. I thought it was a loan
18-month deal for Doncaster.
Oh, yeah. Well, there we go then. Keep me right. Well, in that case, then I was just going to say was if he was due to come back, this was really the make or break. So obviously we've sold him. We've decided that we've got other options coming in. So I agree with you then that if we sold him, it must look like we're bringing somebody else in, probably another defender coming in later on in the window, hopefully.
Right, just very quickly, we have got Tom backstage at the moment now waiting to come on. We're going to bring him on shortly. Quickly on the chat, Nelestino, sorry. Oliver needs games. Not good to keep him in the under-23s. Well, he's gone on to Doncaster, and I think it should do well in that Doncaster side anyway. Just very quickly then, Patrick Roberts, there's a few people on the chat bringing him up. I think on Sunday, when we was on, we discussed it had been announced on Sky Sports that he was actually having a medical at Sunderland. Seems to have gone a bit quiet. Do we think that's going to still come off, Jack?
I always worry when deals take a while to go through. I always think the best deals are the one like the Danny Bart deal that nobody knows about, and you end up signing him in a few hours and it goes through nice and easy. I always worry when a deal drags on and on and on. I always think, why is it dragging on? Is it a fitness issue? Has he got medical problems that he's struggling the medical with? Or is it the fact that maybe he doesn't really want to sign and his agent's turning his head and he's maybe getting offers elsewhere? I don't know, but I think I wouldn't be held to ransom. As much as I like Patrick Robertson, I think he'd be a really good player. I think we need to set our stall up and say, look, give him a few days, and if we don't hear anything back or we can't get the deal over the line, then maybe look elsewhere, because the window, it's not going to be around forever. It shuts shortly, doesn't it? We've got 10, 11 days or so. So give it a few more days, maybe till early next week, and then start looking at alternative options, because as good as a player he is, you can't hang all your hopes on one player. and then you miss other targets because of that if you're not going to get them in the end.
All right, just very quickly, before I come to you, Terry, Casual Observer says on Defoe, which we will, I'm sure, touch on a little bit later on, he thinks he'll be too big a character for Jumbo. I don't think his ego can take it. Emma Hansen, friend of the show, is also saying that what do we make of 09 and McGeady back in training? Is there room for them in the squad? We'll touch on that as well. Terry, Patrick Roberts, do you think it's now not going to happen? Because it seemed like it was as good as over the line.
I do think there's more teams in from than just Sunderland. I think Celtic were interested as well. So he's going to have loads of options. So I think he's just going to take his time a little bit to decide which is the best option for him. At the end of the day, it's his future. He's going to look at all the different teams he can go to and pick which one he thinks is going to be best for him. So I think it might, if it's going to happen, it will probably happen before or maybe just after the weekend. I think there's more chance of Patrick Roberts come to Sunderland than Jermain Defoe. It's just the body language of Lee Johnson. I listened to him talking about Jermain Defoe. I got this feeling that he's not really interested in Jermain Defoe come to Sunderland. That's just what I got from his body language. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope Jermain Defoe does come to Sunderland, but I just got this feeling he just was kind of sort of brushing it aside about the coach and the players got to work together. It's got to have sort of connection.
To be fair, now you said that, Terry, actually, I'd never looked at it like that. But when looking back now about when he did speak about him, I can see where you're coming from. And he was probably in a position where, because there's all this hype about it, and because Sunderland fans would love to have him back, I think he's chucked his name in there because he's felt he's had to. But yeah, I suppose you're right, really, when you say that, there wasn't really any conviction in his voice. Right, what we're going to do, I'm going to bring Tom in here from 4-0 written all over it, the fantastic Portsmouth YouTube channel. Just let me get the overlays on here, then it looks all nice and sexy. Where are we at? All right. So with Tom, how you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm very well, guys. Thanks for having me back. I like this. Twice a year we do this, don't we? And it's always lovely. So yeah, thanks for having me. I'm doing good.
Well, so long as it's not, because the last time, right, was the first time since you started your channel that you actually had a 4-0 win in it. And so your 4-0 written all over it happened to come against us, didn't it? So
it did.
We'll have none of that, please, if you don't mind.
Well, I was just going to say that normally we look back at the previous meetings, don't we, on a preview show? It looks quite kindly for us, doesn't it? But we don't have to mention it too much because, as we mentioned before, conditions were pretty horrendous, weren't they? So
I also remember how downbeat you were at the time as well. You were saying how you didn't have much of a chance as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's going to be your ploy for tonight as well, no doubt. You're going to hoodwink us, I would imagine. Right, just very quickly, before we get into Portsmouth then, quickly want to tell you it's your last chance to enter our competition for our members. We are going to all the SAFC Fan TV team. We've got a minibus. We're going down to Bolton Wanderers on the 29th of January, and there is a place up for grabs. So if you want to go into the draw will be on Sunday. You've got to be a member of the channel. If you're not already a member, you can join. It's $1.99 if you want to do that. There is a link in the description below, and if we pull your name out, you're on the bus. The bus is paid for. We get a ticket for the game. You can come with us, and we'll even bring you home, and we might even give you some earplugs, so you don't have to listen to Terry singing on the bus all the way down, which is why the place available is actually Jack's place. Jack said, I would come if Terry wasn't going to be there singing. Yeah, that's what you need.
You can use the earplugs if you want.
There you go. Right, well, anyway, there's details on the channel of the full, the full experience you can get. We're all going, meet all the team, come down with us, come and have a drink with us, and we'll bring you back home as well. So if you want to enter that, you need to do that straight away, because the draw is going to be on Sunday and the game then the Saturday after that. Right then, so Saturday, Portsmouth. What sort of form are you in at the moment, Tom?
Well, I was just thinking about what I was gonna say to you guys before I came on, and I think without wanting to sound too up ourselves, before Christmas, I would have said there's only going to be one result, and that'll be a Pompey win at the Stadium of Light, because we were absolutely unplayable for any side. We went on a ridiculous run of form. We were picking up points left, right, and centre. We then had a COVID break, like quite a lot of clubs in League One over the Christmas period. We went about 25 days without playing any football. And to be honest with you, it's never really picked up since then. I mean, we've had, what have we had now? So Wimbledon, Cambridge and MK Dons, and we've only scored one goal in the entirety of those games. And I was listening into the start of your show, and I'd actually say we're the complete reverse of what Terry was saying about Sunderland. We are defensively watertight. We've got the most clean sheets in the league, 13 I think it is now. That's better than any other side in this division, but we just can't score goals and we can't convert chances. I know we don't really like the expected goals stat, but we had 2 expected goals against Wimbledon on Tuesday night and didn't find the back of the net. So we're defensively, we're pretty good, and we just can't get them in the onion bag at the minute. So yeah, I'd form wise, we're indifferent. We haven't really got back going since we started. Tomorrow will be telling whether we can actually compete this season or not for me. But yeah, it's one I'm very much looking forward to.
Well, hang on, I'll bring you in a sec there, Terry. You were certainly watertight down at Fratton Park. P. Nalestino says 4-0. It was water polo. Terry, you won in there.
But yeah, before the MK Dons match, you won beaten in 9 games. You won a good run of form. You've only lost once in 12. And is this the same defence as last season? Have you changed something to make your defence a bit more watertight?
Yeah, great question. It's actually changed in the last couple of days, Terry, to be honest with you. We bought in Hayden Carter, is one of our recent signings. He's only played 1 game. Conor Ogilvie is a signing over the summer that I would imagine would have played when you played us at Fratton Park earlier on in the season. Clark Robertson's been out for a long time, so we have been there's been periods where we've missed him, and then there's also been periods where you could say, no, we've really adapted to the situation in terms of not letting any goals in. I think one of the major things for us defensively would be Gavin Bazunu, who's our goalkeeper, which I would argue with anyone's one of the best keepers in this division. He's kept us in it on a number of occasions in a number of games. Added to it, Sean Raggett is a stalwart defensively. He's arguably one of our players of the season so far, and could have been last season quite easily as well. So yeah, I mean, you put those 2 together and you've got a really good defensive unit. So we're not, well, I mean, I might eat my words. We might go and lose by quite a substantial amount on Saturday, but I don't see us conceding too many goals, if not any, to be honest with you. Because we are just really good at keeping the ball out of our own net. What we struggle with, as I've said, is getting the ball in the other net, which is something that we're looking to rectify.
Right.
So you put the MK Dons one down to COVID again?
I don't put the MK Dons one down to COVID. We weren't great first half. We were much better second half. I feel like, again, it was our first match back at Fratton Park in over a month, or roughly a month or so, in terms of actual calendar days rather than football weekends. MK Dons are a really good side. I don't know if you boys have played them once or maybe twice this season, but they are a really good unit. They know how to do it, and they've done it to plenty of teams up and down the land so far this season. You know, they play with the ball. They take that chance that they get, and then they sit back and let you knock it around and try and stay as compact as they can. So, yeah, we put it down to a number of things. As you say, the MK Dons are the first game we've lost in sort of recent memory, which is a great stat to have on our side. But since the turn of the year, we haven't been fantastic, and I haven't seen the Pompey that I saw before Christmas, which is good news for you and not so great news for us.
I was just, do you think, just a question from me, do you think the league's a little bit stronger this year? Because I think this is one of the best Sunderland teams in the last 3 years. You could even argue it's probably our best, even better than the team that Jack Ross lost the playoff final to. And yet we seem to not quite be getting up the automatics. I just wondered what your thoughts on that were, because I think Portsmouth are one of the best teams we played. Obviously, you battered us. And yet you seem to be, 9th, 8th, 9th, 10th, are you? You're not even in the playoffs. So I just wondered what your thoughts were.
Yeah, it is. You're spot on, because you think about the sort of the leading crop at the minute. you've got obviously your Wigans and your Rotherham are up there, aren't they? And then it's you boys, and then you're looking at kind of the next crop of teams: Plymouth, MK Dons, Wycombe, Oxford, Sheffield Wednesday, ourselves. They're all up there in and around fighting for those places. I definitely think the quality is higher. I completely agree with what I've heard a lot of people saying, is that anyone can beat anyone in this division. And I think that's absolutely true. I wouldn't be surprised. We're playing Doncaster in a couple of weeks. I wouldn't be surprised if we lost to them. I know they've been on rubbish form, but I just feel like it's one of those divisions this season in particular where the quality, and perhaps it's down to the recruitment from clubs over the summer, and perhaps clubs during the January transfer window where they've splashed a lot of the cash, and it makes for a really competitive league, certainly at the top end. I know it's less exciting sort of towards the middle and the bottom, but I really couldn't call it right now for those playoff spots, to be honest with you. I think you're spot on. I think it's really, really tight.
Because I think if you look at the points tally, I think there's a strong chance, and it could be Sunderland, my famous last words, there's a strong chance somebody could end up with about 90, 91, 92 points this year and not actually go up automatically, which in some years that'll be enough to win you the league. Never mind get you second place, but it might be someone gets north of 90 and ends up third or fourth place in the playoffs.
All right. Just very quickly, let me jump back on the chat. We've got quite a few Portsmouth fans have tuned in, so welcome to the channel for you lot. Just give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe if you haven't already. That would help us. Free to subscribe. Already on there. Kevin Hutchinson, obviously a Pompey fan, says, Terry, blue earplugs. Apparently. There you go.
Just the ones I found on the middle of the street somewhere. And that's all right. I just kept them in.
All right, backtrack. There you go. Pompey Fitness James says you've only had one fit and healthy recognised central defender for the majority of the season. That right, Tom?
That would be Sean Raggett. Yes, it is right, and I'm impressed that we've managed to keep as many out of our goal as we have, because we have been injury stricken, we've been unavailability stricken. But yeah, I mean, and when you've got someone who is as fit and healthy and ready to go as Sean Raggett, I mean, we can't really complain. But yeah, that's spot on. We are sort of injury prone at the minute. Yeah.
Right. Just very quickly as well on there, Jeff Holcroft Spannerman says Tom is a double agent, don't listen to him. And also P. Nelestino, how do I enter the draw for Bolton Wanderers? Well, we've seen you've just joined as a member, so welcome to the members club. All you have to do now is just send your name to our email address, which we'll quickly stick on the screen for you there. SAFC Fan TV 73 at gmail.com. Just send us an email, then at least we can contact you if your name is pulled out of the hat on Sunday when we do the draw. Also down here, there is a mention of, was it Casual Observer, about John Westwood, the Portsmouth fan, changing his name to Portsmouth Football Club. We have had requests to try and get him onto the channel. We did attempt to get him on. Was going to split it half in half between himself and Tom, but he is actually he would have liked to come on, but he's busy tonight anyway. So for those of you who would have wanted to see him on, we did attempt to do that. Anyway, right, Tom, Denver Hume. Portsmouth are interested. Would you like the lowdown on him?
Well, I've seen. I have a friend of mine who I go to the gym with, who is a Sunderland fan, expat. Used to live in South Shields, and he said he was going to chip in for the taxi, like a lot of you, for him to come down. So go on, then, give us the lowdown. What is he better than Lee Brown? That's what I'd like to know.
I think there's a difference of opinion on it all. Terry, do you want to give your thoughts on Denver Hume?
I thought he was a good up-and-coming player at one point, but it's like he's got had a few injuries over there. I think he's probably made of glass at this moment in time. So if you do buy him, you do get him, he might be injured a lot. That's the only problem. I think he had good potential. I think he's good going forward. He's better than some of the ones we've had in the past, but I think the potential was there. He's still young enough, but I think it's just his injury problems he's had over the years. For me, he's let him down.
Yeah, he's very... I messaged you anyway, Tom, and said he is injury prone. And for me, there was signs that he could have been quite good, and then he would sort of drop off as well. I'll come to you on that, Jack, next, but I quickly... Oh, no, I'll do that, and then I've got a question for Tom from someone in the chat. Jack, your thoughts on Denver Hume for Tom?
Well, I think Denver Hume, he's okay going forward in terms of he's deceptively quick, and he gets wide, full of energy, gets wide often, and seems to be decent at putting balls in regularly. I was worried about when he played for us defensively. I know it seems like a daft thing to say, a fullback, defensively not very strong, but I don't think he was ever that. He didn't seem to have that instinct that defenders have. I thought he was a little bit naive, and he'd switch off a little bit, lack of concentration. But Tom's been saying Portsmouth are pretty solid at the back, so you might get the best out of him if you can play him alongside somebody a little bit more experienced, maybe, and maybe you don't go forward as much. He might be a better asset. And I think Terry touched on his injury problems. I think he just needs a regular run. If it can get 25, 30 games regularly at a team, you might actually see a player there, but it's never quite happened for him. He's had injuries, and then we've got other players at fullback now, and you get the feeling now he's not really young anymore. It might never happen for someone. He might be one of those players that does need a move to kind of reignite his career a little bit.
Right, okay. On the chat, there's some questions coming in for you, Tom, as well. First of all, Emma Hansen says, got a serious question. Do you have more than one song? But I'll also chuck the other question from Casual Observer, says, what the heck has happened to Marquis? So there you go, 2 questions for you, Tom.
I'll tackle the one song one first, because it's a bit of the thing that follows us around, that we've only got play up, Pompey, play up. I actually think we're quite creative with our chants, and hopefully you'll be able to hear a few of them at the Stadium of Light. Then there's quite a lot of player orientated ones. Danny's at the wheel was a bit of a favourite at the moment. But John Marquis is a tricky one, because you were just saying it there about Denver Hume, Jack, that it's never really hit off for Marquis at Pompey either. I mean, he's, at the time, you boys will remember it, it was a £1.5 million, £2 million deal. We were all really excited about it. This was going to be the next big thing. He was going to score a bucket load of goals, and we were going to be really happy with how he was playing. It just hasn't turned out that way. And, it's a shame, because he does so much for the team, he did so much for the team, John Marquis, and you could tell that the effort was there, but it just wasn't falling for him in the really key moments. Quite a lot of our fans have been saying, it was the big occasion, playing at a place like Fratton Park, where you can quite easily get swallowed up if you're not performing to the standards that the Pompey faithful would expect. I can imagine it's probably very similar, if not even worse, at the Stadium of Light when you're not on form. Put it this way, he scored 4 goals this season, and he played 24, 25 games. So that's a goal every 6 games. For your number 9, it's just simply not good enough in a league like League One for a club like Pompey. And I just think even, Danny inherited him from previous administration. I don't want to mention his name. But yeah, it was just just one of those where it never quite worked, and he didn't have the talent to really kind of get his way into the next managerial style. So Harness, Ronan Curtis, first names on the team sheet as soon as Danny and Nicky came in. Marquis, it was a little bit more like you'd play him, but he didn't fit into the idea. He wasn't part of the ideology and what Danny and Nicky were trying to achieve. It's the same story with Ellis Harrison, who's left us. Paul Downing as well. They've both gone out. So, we've cleared out Deadwood. Marquis is among that, and hopefully the new guy, Carl Walker, can do some special things, hopefully even at the Stadium of Light on Saturday, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, hopefully, Pompey Fitness James again says, glad Marquis has gone.
Just in a live stream.
He couldn't hit a door couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo, except when he played against Sunderland in the 4-0. So, well, we're glad he's not going to be there. Casual Observer says Hume is made of polystyrene and can't defend for toffee as well. Right, a few people are talking about Jermain Defoe. I don't know how aware you are, Tom, of us wanting Jermain Defoe here. He played for your lot. What are your thoughts on Jermain Defoe? Are we, from an outside perspective, really looking at it, we are rose-tinted spectacles and love him and would love him back here. At 39-year-old, do you think Defoe could still do a job in League One?
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because it's such a physical league, and you need such high levels of physicality. I'd actually see him more from an outside point of view. I'd see him more on kind of a coaching, nurturing basis for young players at your football club to really look up to as a figure who's been there and done it, and been Premier League, been at the top of his game, and won all sorts of fantastic things in football. Yeah, I mean, why not? Because I think he's been linked with us as well, which I definitely wouldn't see, if I'm honest with you, at this moment in time. But I think if you boys absolutely adore him, then I don't see why there's any reason why he couldn't come back. My only concern would be that would he take the place of a talent that is up and coming, and just because he's Jermain Defoe, his name would be on the team sheet in front of an up-and-coming star striker that hasn't quite proved himself yet. That would be my only concern. So, I mean, I don't know. How close is it to being finalised as a deal? Is it a rumour or is it ongoing?
It's rumour. To be fair, Lee Johnson has chucked his name out there saying that, so we wouldn't be opposed to, to sort of speaking to him. But it's all... I mean, you know what football fans are like. They get carried away with an idea. We all love the idea that he would come back and think without a doubt he would do a job in this league. But again, I mean, the only thing for us is Defoe said he wants to continue playing. So down in this league, it's something I personally think he could do. Jack, is there anything else you want to chuck at Tom?
Yeah, just one question I thought of, just a little bit of a funny question as well. Do you think that the needle between Sunderland and Portsmouth has died down a little bit? Because I remember the first season we were in League One, we played Portsmouth twice in the league and twice in the playoff, and there was a bit of rivalry, wasn't it? Well, we played them in the Checker Trade final as well at Wembley, so I think we ended up playing them 5 times that season. So I don't know whether it was just the volume and level of games that created a little bit of tension, but it seemed to always be a little bit of needle, fans and managers and one or two other. I just wondered what Tom thought. Do you think that's died down a little bit now, or do you think the Sunderland Portsmouth might still flare up a little bit Saturday? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, isn't it, where it's two underperforming clubs who are in a league that they don't deserve to be in, and perhaps it's a shame, isn't it? Because we'd love this fixture to be in the Championship or the Premier League, and I'm sure you boys will remember when it was a Premier League fixture, which is not too long ago. Two big, passionate sets of fan bases. I think much like ourselves, Sunderland, the football club itself is the beating heart of the city. Everything revolves around the Saturday or the Tuesday, and you go to work, earn your money, and spend it on the football, don't you? It's one of those, and that's the case for us down here as well. I think there is an element of that. Two working class areas around big football clubs, teams really battling it out to get up there into the Championship. It's always going to be flary, isn't it? I remember when Luke O'Nien was sent into the North Stand at Fratton Park in that season, and he got a bit of a beating, didn't he? So that wasn't one of our finest moments and I remember, not me personally, I saw it happen when we chucked a flare down onto your family section in your North Stand, which was a rather classy moment as well. But apart from those two little pinch points, I think it's been a really amicable rivalry-ish in League One over the last couple of years. I wouldn't call it a rivalry in general. I would call it a league-based League One rivalry personally, because that's what it is. Similar thing with Ipswich and Sheffield Wednesday, underperforming giants that deserve to be a lot higher than they are. So yeah, I'd agree with you. It's the fact that we haven't seen you, maybe COVID's got something to do with it. We had a couple of fixtures behind closed doors and we couldn't get to them, etc. So that might play a little bit of a part. I still think it'll be a crackling atmosphere at the Stadium of Light, as it always is, and just heightened by the occasion of us taking good numbers up there on Saturday. So I'm really looking forward to it. But I do think it has died. I'd like to see it rejuvenated a little bit, because it's always nice to have a bit of extra onto the football game, isn't it? So we'll see.
Yeah, Terry, I'll bring you in just now. I mean, after that Luke O'Nien incident in the crowd anyway, when we then played you at Wembley, I know there was loads of Sunderland fans got masks done of that weird looking bloke who had to go at him and all that. And quickly on the chat, Ian Davis, who must be a Shrewsbury Town fan, says, we still got the Super Shrews yet. Unlucky lads, playoffs, here we come. Terry, you was wondering, hang on, somebody wants to see you as well. Here's Colin, our mascot. Say hello to everybody. There you go. Go on then. All right, Terry, you was wondering there.
Yeah, I don't see any rivalry, to be honest, apart from the flair and that dodgy bloke who looks like Shrek. I never saw anything at all. I've never had any trouble with any Portsmouth fans. They've all been friendly to come on the channel. I've never seen any trouble at all, to be honest, apart from Shrek, and that was it.
Oh, we were getting a little bit of stick at Fratton Park when we went down Fratton Park in October. We were getting. I mean, not like, it wasn't like Newcastle away or nothing like that, but we were getting a little bit of few comments and, like, you know, one or two bits of. I mean, not light-hearted. Probably the same type of stuff we'd give to, you know, away fans at the stadium. Like, but yeah, there was a little bit there.
I remember when we did chuck the flare, there was a bit just coming out of the game afterwards, making that long ascent from the away end. When we got outside, it was a little bit argy-bargy, we'll call it, Terry. There you go. But there's nothing more than that. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
I think it's just because we're playing red and white. They think we're Southampton. That's
exactly.
Yeah. Well, funny you say that, because, again, Pompey Fitness James says, if I took my glasses off in Sunderland, I'd think I'm in Southampton. Captain Nat says, evening, lads, enjoying the stream. From a Wednesday fan, welcome along to the channel there, Sheffield Wednesday supporter, as well, shout out for you. Kevin Hutchinson, the Portsmouth fan, says, still my favourite away day. And you're coming up for the game as well on Saturday, aren't you, Tom?
I am indeed, yeah. Well, we are actually coming up on Friday afternoon and staying over. So doing it the sensible way, because we tried doing it up and back in the day once, and it was tough. So we're going to stay up this time, I think.
It's a very tiring day. I've done Portsmouth away in one day, and it's very tiring. You just come back and just sleep for like 15 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, you can make sure you come into the Wheat Sheaf and we'll give you a warm welcome in there. There's loads of Portsmouth fans in. We take the Mickey out of Southampton and we'll do all that for you. So don't, but I'll speak to you about that afterwards.
I've done Chichester and back in about 12 hours.
What are you doing in Chichester, Terry?
Picking my daughter up from university.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, righto. Stalking, probably. Right, okay. Let's have a look at this then, because in our group chat this week, to quote Terry, Wigan will piss this league, apparently. That was after they beat Morecambe. You know how I feel about it. Tom, who do you think's likely to run away and win this league then?
I would have said Rotherham before they lost to Fleetwood. If I'm honest, I just feel like they can be get at if Fleetwood can do it to them, and you play your cards right, then I think a number of other teams will do. It's really important at this point to say that we are still just over halfway through the season. An awful lot can change. Teams in the top half will probably, and quite a lot of them maybe will end up in the bottom half, and bottom half teams will go on a run and end up in the top half. So, you know, it's still all up for grabs. I think Terry's spot on with Wigan, if I'm honest. I think they've got, I think it's 3 games in hand on most of the top crops still. So that's a real shame for me to say, because we sent Jack Watmore. Well, we didn't send them. Wigan bought Jack Watmore and Tom Naylor off us in the summer, which were 2 of our most prized assets at the time. I still stand by what I said at the time. I think that was a terrible decision by whoever made it at the football club. Perhaps the attraction of whatever they were going to pay for them was just too much for us to resist. But we never really covered ourselves in glory with any. Well, I suppose we probably did just about match in terms of replacement, but I still think there were 2 fantastic players. And then look what's happened. They're tearing it up for that Wigan side. They're playing week in, week out and putting on performances. So, yeah, Wigan are a team to beat. We lost to them on I don't know when it was. It was in August sometime. So that's been quite a long while since we played them. It's one. We were going to play them in January actually, but it got postponed because they were in the FA Cup. So yeah, I think they will be up there. I think Rotherham will be up there. I mean, you boys can tell me better, but I would still expect you to be poking around, looking for either top or second. I think it's more than doable with so much football still to be played. Yeah, we'll see. I'd like to see us. I'm still confident on a 5th or 6th for Pompey, and I know I'm sat here in a Pompey shirt with Pompey tinted glasses on saying that, but I still reckon that will be the case. And I'll actually back us in the playoffs as well, because I think the sort of the philosophy that Danny and Nicky have instilled in this football team, and the belief and it's probably the reinvestment that they've provided for the fans to give to the football club with all these fresh ideas, and it's all new. That there's so many things I could list off that they've done that I would say, yeah, we've got a decent chance in the playoffs. If it was under Mr. Jacket, I'd say no hope at all, because the man had nothing about him. But with these boys over a first and second leg, I can imagine the dressing room would be bouncing, and I would imagine that they'd really sort of roll the players up ready for a Wembley trip. That is obviously getting a bit ahead of myself, I know, but I'd still like us to do it. But we'll see.
Right, I'll come to you in a sec there, Terry. Just very quickly on the chat, obviously referring to the flare incident. Casual Observer says away fans need to be moved back to where they were originally. DG Earth, who does our match previews for us, Wigan and Wickham top 2. Casual Observer says Wigan have about 23 games in hand, and Brendan says Tom is a handsome young man. Thanks, you Brendan. Go. Well, that's Brendan. Terry, you was one then.
Yeah, 2 things. In my opinion, I think Wigan will win the league. I said piss the league because I knew it gets under your skin. But when it comes to players leaving like Watmore and that, do you not think sometimes it's not always the club and just the player just wants to move on?
I think it's different with Watmore because he was born and bred in Pompey, and he's a Pompey fan. He was through our academy and then into our League 2 side, then our League 1 side, and now he's off with Wigan. So I think that was it. A bit like Connor Chaplin at Ipswich. We sort of watched them tearing it up. Everyone is not really tearing it up, but he's doing well at Ipswich at the moment and can contributing to a lot of their goals and whatever. But it's just, when you watch it, an ex-player that you absolutely loved, and Jack Watmore is one of those for me that it's just a real shame to see that he went. Perhaps that's the case, Terry. Perhaps deep down, he had his affiliations with Pompey. I'm led to believe James Ward-Prowse is a Pompey fan, which I don't really understand what's going on there. But anyway, and it's the same with Mason Mount. He's a Pompey boy, but he obviously went off to Chelsea's academy, and that was to further his career. So perhaps Jack Watmore's the same thing. He saw the opportunity, saw that he'd get match game time. Also, Liam Richardson was under Paul Cook at Pompey, so perhaps that was another draw for him. So yeah, there's a whole host of reasons. I wouldn't have thought it would be solely opportunist based though, because he still is a Pompey boy through and through.
But not so much opportunist, but more or less just a bit of his career. Maybe he didn't get on that well with Danny Cowley and his brother, whatever.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, he was still in the side. I think Danny and Nicky spoke highly of him in public. Whether that was the same in private, we don't know. But yeah, I mean, everyone's self-interest is going to win out on all walks of life, and football's definitely one of them, isn't it? So, I mean, we're wishing all the best of luck to Jack, and we love seeing his success, but we'd love him to be playing in a Pompey shirt still.
All right. Just very quickly then. Also, I mean, for me, it's far too early in the season to be saying that people are going to be winning the league. There's far too many games left for that yet. Also, we've got 61 likes. We'd like to try and hit 100 if we can on a Thursday. So we've got 169 people already on the stream. Just hit the thumbs up. It'll take you a second to do that. And it's free. If you're watching on a mobile device and you got the live chat on, just close that. You'll see the thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. It's free to subscribe. Terry.
Didn't you say at the start of the season that somebody would win the league? Wasn't that really early in the start of the season? So halfway through the season, surely you can have an opinion.
Sorry, do I not at the start of every season say that Sunderland are going to win the league?
Is that not far too early to say someone's going to win the league?
Do I not say that the start of every single season?
How many times have you been right, Philly? How many times have you been right?
Every time Sunderland have got promoted. There you go. It's the up by Easter what's biting me on the bum. That's the one. but never mind. But this is the one, man. This is it.
But I can't see it after 25 games, 27 games. I think Wigan are going to win the league. But you can see it at the beginning of the season.
Oh, shut up, man. Behave yourself. Listen, I said what I want. All right. Right. A couple of things, because there's things coming in for Tom on here. Try and keep it brief, because what I want to do is I want to try and move on to Saturday's game and the team we're going to play and stuff like that. But David K in the chat, Tom is asking, why is Curtis not starting?
Yeah, great question. He has done for the majority of the season. It's only the last couple of weeks, really, that he's fallen out of favour. I think particularly evident on Tuesday night against Wimbledon. I think Danny was really keen on giving the new boys, Hayden Carter and Kyle Walker, a first start in a Pompey shirt, and I think it was just Curtis that had to give way. It's a difficult matchup between having enough attacking flair on the pitch to win the game, but also enough defenders in order to make sure you don't concede any. I think that's a bit of a toss-up for Danny. I mean, I don't know. Not a fly on the wall in Danny's office, but perhaps he might be sort of preparing Curtis for a move elsewhere. As we hear every transfer window, that might be the case, that might not be the case. But yeah, I mean, he's overtook Yakubu actually as our top scorer in the 21st century against Exeter City in the EFL Trophy. So I think he's still a prized asset at Pompey, but I don't quite know why he's not starting, to be honest.
Quickly, Terry?
Yeah, when you played against Ipswich and Rotherham, you played 3 at the back, then you switched it and your defence got better, but then you put it back 3 to a back last few games. What does Danny Cowley prefer, and what will he play on Saturday? 3 at the back or 4? I
reckon it'll be 3 on Saturday. I would imagine you won't see Kieran Freeman in that 3. You will have Ogilvie, Raggett and Hayden Carter will be your back 3. I would imagine if he's fit, Rico will be back in the side, and then Malon will be on the other wing. You'll have Morel and probably Sean Williams in the middle. So I would imagine a 3-5-1-2 would be what I'd go for, Terry.
What was the matter with Hackett? What was his injury?
I don't know what... Slight knock, which is always really vague, but he didn't play on Tuesday, so we're hoping he's going to be back for Saturday.
Right, just very quickly on the chat, Aaron Newland says, love Tom with all the knowledge. Brendan said, what does Tom use to groom his beard? And Jimmy says, a woman.
Lovely. Thanks, gents.
I don't know. Right, okay. Well, look, let's move on to, because we've got, 7 or 8 minutes left. Let's move on to Saturday then. And people tune in especially to see Terry's whiteboard. So we'll, Terry, get your team out for the lads. Let's have a...
if everybody's fit, this is what I would start on Saturday. Can we say that?
We can see that.
There we go. So the new lad, Bart, comes into the centre of defence. 3 at the back for me. Serkin and Diaka was the wing backs. Evans and Neil, Pritchard, Embleton, Stewart, and put Gooch on the bench.
Right. How confident are you with that, Terry? Or is that just the team you would like?
That's the team I would like. I'm pretty sure surely you're going to put Bart back and start him in defence and drop Flanagan for me, because I mean Flanagan needs a little bit of time out of the team. We need to get a clean sheet. And I think we're going to get a 2-0 win.
All right, then. Well, what we'll do, we did this last time Tom was on, thinking that we've got to trust he's not going to double bluff us here. Where are your weaknesses then on Saturday, Tom? Because we do believe that Lee Johnson does tune in when you're on, just to find out. So what are your weaknesses in your team for Saturday then?
Sean Williams in midfield is a weakness. He's slow, old, yet experienced. If Lee Brown's in the team, I don't see how he will be, but if he is in the team, he is also quite slow and he gets beaten for pace every time he plays. Probably our weakness is that we just don't take the opportunities to win the games. And I know that sounds a bit strange to say, but if you take your chances and keep a clean sheet, then you end up winning a lot of football matches. And we just can't do the first of those at the minute. So that's what I would say. But if I was going to highlight a player, I would say Sean Williams is probably the weakest of a really good bunch of footballers that we have at the moment. I'm really excited by the talent that we have in the side. On Terry's board, there are a few new names on there that I recognised and a few old faces. I think our biggest weakness, I'd have the utmost respect for Sunderland as a football club. I think you're a great group of people, great football team, but perhaps giving you a little bit too much respect on the pitch might be one of our greatest weaknesses. I think that has maybe been an issue on one or two occasions this season, is just to not put a team to the sword and get out there and win the game. So that's probably what I would say.
Is Williams the same Williams who played as centre-back?
Yes, correct, yeah.
What's his better position then?
Neither, to be honest with you.
Because that's when you were shipping 4 goals, when you played him as centre-back.
Yeah, he's not great, Terry, to be honest. That's where I would highlight a weakness.
Have you got anybody to stop Ross Stewart?
Have I got what, sorry?
Have you got anybody to stop Ross Stewart because he's scoring for fun?
I'd like to hope Raggett would have something to say to Stewart. I don't know how tall Ross Stewart is, but Raggett's normally one of the tallest players on the pitch. I mean, again, that was one of the names that I saw. I thought, oh yeah, I've heard a little bit about him. He will cause us problems. But Gavin Bazunu will take a lot to beat unless he makes a mistake, which all keepers do. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we do concede on Saturday because you've got such talent in that team. It's not just Stewart, is it? I mean, literally anyone can score for you boys. So yeah, we'll see. But we're massively sort of keeping our eye on him, definitely.
All right, just very quickly on the chat again, Jeff Allcroft, Spannerman, says, Tom says 3 at the back, so it will be 4. Double agent, remember, apparently. Also on there, Cyber Jeff 1, Curtis is crap and a greedy player. Enjoy your fishing. Wigan and Wickham, top 2 for me. Portsmouth have a decent player in Tyler Walker. I hope it works out for him, but Coventry wouldn't have let him out on loan if he'd been doing any good up the imps. So he's obviously a Lincoln fan tuning in there as well. Jack, Terry's team, does that look all right for you?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't really. There's no one stands out. I would certainly put Danny Batth back in. The only real one was whether or not to get Gooch in the team, but Embleton has looked better recently. Possibly Gooch in that role, but you can't really disrupt Pritchard. I think Pritchard has to play. The level that Pritchard gets to, his ability on the ball is far too good at this level. Obviously, Stewart picks himself. The defensive 3, if you're putting Batth in, it's got to be alongside Wright and Doyle. Hoffman, if he's fit, hopefully he played last week. Yeah, I can't see anything wrong with Terry's team. I just hope that really we start the game a little bit better, because we were really poor last week at Accrington. Never really got going, got the goal, and then threw away 2 points. I think we need to be more intense. There needs to be more speed, more tempo to the game. We were poor last Saturday, so this is a real chance, and particularly what Portsmouth did to us in October, we really need to get our own back, don't we?
Right, okay. Right, just very quickly again, we are running out of time now, so I'm going to get some predictions off you. But on the chat, DJ Sizzler Watson says, going to watch you later. But I was Lee Johnson in, but if we don't beat Pompey on Saturday, it's time he went. Tom, I don't know if you're aware, but there's quite a lot of Sunderland fans not happy with Lee Johnson. And, well, there's quite a few people want him out. We're a little bit split on the channel as well. For me, the position we're in, I think it's a bit ridiculous, but it's surprising how many people are calling for his head, really. But that's football fans for you. Tell you what, let's take some predictions from you lads then. Terry, Saturday.
2-0 Sunderland. Very tough game, though, of course. Very tough game.
Right. Jack?
I think 1-1. I think Portsmouth will be. I think the Portsmouth will probably score first, and then we'll struggle to break them down. But I think we will get an equaliser. But yeah, 1-1.
All right, Tom, what are you saying?
Heart says another 4-0. Head says 2-1 Pompey. I wouldn't be making the trip if I didn't think we were going to win. So 2-1 Pompey. I think we'll concede. As Terry said, really, really tough game. But yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Well, I'm hoping with the new guy at the back, a clean sheet, and I'll take a 1-0 Sunderland win. For me, is what I'm going to go.
What did I say last time? Do we remember? What did I go for? Was it like a?
Oh, God,
You weren't very confident at all last time. I can't remember. I don't know if we went for a draw.
What day did we play you?
It was
early October. It was like October the 4th or something, wasn't it?
Early October, yeah.
October the 4th.
I'll be good if I dig this one out. I'll be good. September.
While you're doing that, have I got time to ask what happened on the touchline last weekend or whenever it was with Lee Johnson? Is he going to be able to be stood there, or was he up in the stands?
Well, he's appealing it, so he'll be able to be there tomorrow, won't he? On Saturday, he's got to like
Lee Johnson with his little man syndrome. That's what happened.
Basically, it was Callum Doyle went in and on the halfway line wiped out one of their players, one of the Lincoln players. It was a bad challenge. Could have been a red card, but it wasn't. And then Lee Johnson, then that other player got up and was going to get hold of Doyle, but Doyle's only a kid. And then Lee Johnson got in the way, but got the lad by the throat and then just pushed him away by the throat. That was what happened.
Okay.
Right.
He said he wasn't going to let him wasn't going to let his young lad get beaten up on the pitch. So he basically stepped in, but obviously his hand went in the wrong place, didn't it?
Of course.
Anyway, you said 2-1 to Portsmouth when we played down there, is what you said, Tom. So
I'll go for that again then. 2-1.
There you go. Right, that does just about wrap it up. Listen, I want to say a massive thank you to Tom from 4-0 written all over it. It's a fantastic YouTube channel, great for any football fan. Make sure you check it out, have a look at it, go and support the channel, hit the subscribe button, do that. Like I say, him and Andrew, you can go and watch him and see how is Andrew doing, by the way.
He's good. He's just getting prepped for the long drive. So yeah, he's all right though.
Yeah, so check that out then. 4-0 written all over it. Great footballing channel. Of course, even more so if you're a Pompey fan, then and check it out as well. Tom, thanks for coming on. You've been an absolute star. Just say bye to everybody.
Thanks for having me, gents. Lovely to speak to you again and see you in whenever it will be, next 6 months or so. Well, you might be
on Saturday. We'll see on Saturday.
But you might on the live. I mean, you might be in a different league to us. Who knows? Let's wait and see.
Right, okay. Jack, thanks for joining us tonight. Jack, just say bye to everybody.
See you later, lads and lasses.
And Terry, it's been a good one. Terry, just say bye.
See you later.
We'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, please, to like and subscribe. And we'll catch you on the next one. See you later. Bye.